And now we have Tookitaki, and they're going to share with us a solution that is capable of monitoring and combating AML CFT risks through crypto assets.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Thank you, everybody, for giving me a chance to present. My name is Abhishek. I'm the founder and CEO of Tookitaki. We are an AI-powered AML platform. We are combating financial crime through collective intelligence. So, financial crime, as we all know, is one of the biggest societal evils across the globe. Almost $1.6 to $2 trillion is laundered, but unfortunately, only 1% of the money is traced. But why is that? The primary reason being, most of the current AML programs are siloed in nature. Banks are not able to share information insights, and hence they are vulnerable to various risks. Most of the existing platforms which detect financial crime are rule-based, hence they are not able to create complex scenarios. And number three, as we saw in COVID situation, the underlying environment changes so much that rule-based system is never able to catch up. This is where Tookitaki comes in. We are industry's first AI-powered federated learning tool. Now, what does that mean? It essentially means we are breaking down the silos of information sharing across banks through this concept of federated learning. So what we do is we understand scenarios, patterns from the bank's situations and data. We're able to remove out any PI or customer information and push it back into a topology repository. Then we have a concept called as automated machine learning, which can understand those patterns and automatically detect those scenarios. Number three, we are patent pending in explainability so that when the results come out, they're explainable and understandable from both the banks and regulators' point of view. So let me quickly explain how it works. We have one of the largest pattern repository, which are patterns and not rules or thresholds. This does not contain any customer information. Now, what happens is each of the financial institutions who are our client has an instance. It's a hub and spoke model. They can install this instance. It could be on cloud, it could be on-prem, connect to the repository, download all the instances of this topology that they would be interested in. The machine learning model automatically gets changed and works accordingly to those topologies and detects those scenarios. Now, let me show you how does that work. It's very easy. Banks can easily download these topologies. Once they are downloaded, the machine learning rebuilds itself and it starts to predict scenarios which otherwise you would have never been caught. And currently we have a massive topology repository already built, starting from techniques, products, predicate offenses, and we were winners of the G20 tech sprint by showing that if you have topologies around cryptocurrency assets, how easy it is to develop and showcase those. Now, let me talk about, this is not a theoretical concept. It's already in production and working across banks globally. So we are working across banks in all the geography where they have deployed a solution, connected to the repository, and seen impressive results. And what does the results look like? I'm glad to share, just a few weeks back, one of the local banks in Singapore actually went into production after running an extended pilot for almost a year, where they did impressive testing, both externally and internally on a product to really understand, can we detect certain scenarios which otherwise rule-based system will never be able to detect? Can we give them the coverage that current systems working in silo will not be able to do that? We were able to do that scalably and effectively. So let me share some results. This bank actually was able to consistently detect 5% new cases which their rule-based system missed out, especially in drug trafficking, money laundering, and this was independently validated by internal and external regulators as well as consultants as well. Now, I will quickly like to spend the last minute talking about Tookitaki. We are a Singapore headquartered company. We raised our Series A of 20 million last year by one of the few investors in the world like Viola SIG. We are a team of 60 people. We are very passionate about solving financial crime and using technology and federated approach to really create a collective AML ecosystem and really sort of prevent financial crime going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tookitaki. And now we have our final Q&A with the judges. We've got 5 minutes with them. Judges, do we have any questions for Tookitaki? Once again, just raise your hand not physically, but in the chat room, and we will try to get to all the questions. And Tookitaki, don't worry, the timer only starts once the first judge has asked his question. Judges, do we have any questions for Tookitaki? Just looking around the judging room, the virtual judging room that is. I think the judges are thinking, Tookitaki, your pitch is so clear. I'm not sure if the judges have any questions for you. Final call, judges, do we have any questions for Tookitaki? We do have a question, Tookitaki. We're not going to let you go so easily. We have a question for you from Walter. Over to you, Walter.
Hi, Abhishek.
Hi.
Great use case again, and congratulations on getting your systems and stuff embedded already in one of the large financial institutions here in Singapore. These kinds of use cases are great and developing. I know this is the last presentation for the afternoon, and so thanks for waiting it out. And so the question for me is that we've had a couple of other AML-related projects or types of systems out there in the market. So, two things for me. Again, one, how do you differentiate yourself against competitive systems that are out there? And if you look at some of the other use cases, and you may have seen the presentation earlier by CoinFirm, for a different kind of AML review, how do you see a competition and how do you differentiate yourself from it?
Right. So I think in the market, there are three types of AML solutions which are there, right? One is the sort of existing vendors who deliver rule-based solutions. And if you see all our deployments that have happened globally, we have been able to work along with them and bring in efficacy on top of the rule-based systems. So we have built-in adapters so that the financial institutions can easily get the value of Tookitaki by doing a quick implementation and making sure that all the risks are covered, all the alerts are reduced. So that's how we kind of complement and partner with the existing vendors to make our solution applicable. And the second set of solutions are mostly the machine learning based solutions which try to solve the AML problem. Now, what we have seen for these sort of situations, when you're building custom machine learning models, as the market environment is dynamically changing, within a very short time, the efficacy of the models degrade dramatically. So a lot of the banks tried to build internally, but after some time, as the model efficacy failed, they had to pull it off. Now, what Tookitaki did, and this is what the largest bank did, they let our platform actually run for almost a year in production before they said it's in production. And so Tookitaki has a concept called as champion challenger, which always makes sure that the results are sustainable and it brings value, right? So that's the second. So we are not custom machine learning product. We are, pre-packaged and always connecting to the topology repository so that our results are sustainable. Third one is we have new age cloud-based solutions, which are sort of rule-based, sort of machine learning-based. But what they really lack is in the AML space, it's not important to actually give the rule-based system, which is already given by the legacy system. It's important to break down the banking silos and learn from the ecosystem. The reason we were able to detect so many cases for the local banks is because when we connected to the ecosystem, when we knew that certain typologies in mule activity in the UK market, we were able to bring that in. We were able to provide them better value. So the differentiator is the federated ecosystem kind of clearly differentiates out from the third player. So the first player is partnering. Second is it's not custom built. It's highly scalable product, which is sustainable. And the third one, the federated approach, really kind of gives the data, which will be a differentiator going forward.
Thank you very much for that. We've got another follow-up question from Alwyn, and we just have slightly under a minute and a half. Over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I'll try and be brief, and I think you touched on parts of my question already. But just relating to your comments, it took you about a year to get this live. Is that your normal lead time? And the second part is you reduced false positives by 50% would you have expected more?
It's a great question. Number one, when I said it took us a year, meaning the system was deployed in 3 months, but because we are Asia's first product to actually go live, the bank did not want to announce production till it actually ran in production-like environment for almost a year, right? So now that it ran for almost a year, sustainable results were obtained, then only they announced it in December 7th, right? So that's what in the question. So a lead time to actually go to production is less than 3 months because we don't build custom models. It's already built through automated learning, and the federated engine provides the insights and information. So that's the first aspect of your question. If you can repeat the second one.
On your presentation, you had a 50% reduction in false positives. Yes. Would you have expected more?
Right. So absolutely, the reduction of false, as again, learning through a year and working with regulators, not locally, but also along the globe, it depends on the risk appetite of the bank. So when we say 50% reduction, there would be a risk appetite of, with this 50%, you might have 1% chance that something go bad, right? Now, if you look at a 90% reduction, you might have a chance of 2% going bad, right? So depending on the bank's risk appetite, we kind of create an environment and an AI transformation plan, which allows them to see that benefit, and the champion challenger makes sure that you are continuously sustaining the result and going over time. So a risk-based approach to alert reduction really makes us, really production ready.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tookitaki, and that wraps up our Q&A. Once again, Tookitaki, thank you so much, and all the best.